Actually, I'm just gonna start recording here too. So, hi, welcome to the spoiler-free review of Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. I just got home from it not too long ago, seeing it, and it was a blast. I had a ton of fun. It was awesome. A lot of people were at my theater, which was really cool, hearing everybody's reactions around me. It was awesome. So we're gonna start with all my positives. I'm gonna gush about the movie a lot, and then there are a couple negatives I do have that I want to go through because this is gonna be a review. I can't just gush about the movie endlessly, although I probably could if I wanted to. So this is what I wore. I made a little Freddy Fazbear cosplay. It's pretty cool. But as I was mentioning, I think all the actors were pretty big standouts. There was no actor in the movie that I was watching that I thought at any point, man, this guy sucks at all. Everybody did fantastic. Obviously, Josh Hutcherson as Mike, huge standout. I think this was a perfect role for him. Like at this point, I can't really think of someone else that would play Mike better. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there, but I think he absolutely killed it. Then obviously Matthew Lillard as Steve Raglan, etc. He did killer job, killer job. I do wish gonna be a little bit more on the negative side. I wish he was in a little bit more. There's a little more scenes with him, but he did great. He did awesome. He played Steve Raglan very freaky, scary, and just unsettling. That's all I'll say on that. But he played him perfectly, honestly. Um, so yeah, there's those two. Then a huge standout for me that I was not expecting to be a big standout was the actress for Abby. Abby killed it too. I think she might be one of the most standout characters of the movie, if not the standout, just because like you really feel for Abby in this movie. The relationship between Abby and Mike is adorable. It's awesome. The family there is really nice. The family connection is really cool. I will say in this movie, as a fan since 2014, it follows all the games and lore from the books every now and then. There are surprises in the movie that surprise me. There's one big one that made me audibly gasp or just say, "What?" or something like that. I made an audible noise and it was really cool. Because again, this is its own separate universe from the games, the books, etc. It's its own separate universe. It's the film universe. This was made for the fans. So if you are a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, you will enjoy this movie. Again, it's fun. Not a perfect movie, nothing is, but it's fun. It is a blast. Um, and like even if you've been a fan since 2014, there's still surprises in this movie that will get you. That's gonna be really nice. There are surprises in here. That's really cool. I will say it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Did I miss any actors? Vanessa, the actor for Vanessa, sorry. She also was another big standout that I was not expecting to like that much. She was a huge standout that definitely sits in there with, I mean, the rest of the top cast there. Her relationship with everyone else is really cool. The way she slips in to the lore that she fits in, I should say, fits into the lore is really cool. It's really cool. She did a great job as the character. I hope in future installments in the sequels we're gonna get more of this cast. I think it would be cool if they just did a brand new cast instead and kind of put them on the side burner for maybe the second movie and then bring them back for a third one or something. That would be kind of cool. But I do wish they'll bring them back so we see more of them. That would be awesome. But again, Vanessa, stand out. The way she fits in the movie is really cool. Lots of story in this movie. And the way they just kind of stack and fit everything in is really cool. I think I've said really cool a lot, but it's a really cool movie. That's what it is. It's a cool movie. It is fun. It's a good time. I've been waiting years for this, and it's a good movie. Um, Onto the animatronics. As I mentioned, animatronics, massive standouts. Them by themselves are obviously characters in the movie. Jim Henson did awesome jobs at creating them, giving them all their own separate personalities. Really cool. And just the way they all interact with the actors, with the scene, the set is really creative what they do, and they killed it on the animatronics. They looked so awesome and so realistic. There was no point like the animatronics by themselves killed it. Like and the actors in the suits also kill it. There was 0 points in the movie where I was watching where I'm like, "Oh, that's the guy in the suit." No. There's 0 points in this movie where I went like that just because they did such a good job. Like I don't want to give any I don't want to I want to give credit where credit is due, right? Because I feel like the actors in the suits, a lot of people won't get too much credit to because they just think that, oh man, there's animatronics, you know? But no, they absolutely killed it. They acted great because, I mean, there was no point in the movie where I was like, yo, that's the actor in the suit. They acted like animatronics. They killed it. Um, Loved Freddy. Bonnie was funny. Chica was great and cute. Foxy was awesome. Um, and I mean, yeah, like I said, they all have their own personalities, yes, and they kill it. They did great. The way the animatronics look, the lighting in the movie, the just creation of them is awesome. It was a blast. It was a blast. Every time an animatronic was on screen, you could feel like how big they are. You can feel how big those animatronics are. That they're a hulking machines that are dangerous. The way that they um did the animatronics with the ghost children, it's creative. It's good. It is nice. It's fun. Like there's some scenes in here where that stuff is happening where you're just sitting there and you're like, ooh, 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 like you're just twitching in your seat because it's so nerve wracking, right? It's a creative movie. It's a good movie. I'm so happy it's out. I already want a sequel. It's a ton of fun. Now the pizzeria was also basically its own character, right? The location, the outside is freaky, spooky. Yeah, there's scenes where there are the outside, and you're just sitting there like, whoa, that's cool. The inside with all the rooms, the stages, the office is really cool. The back rooms and the hallways are just, it's so, like, it feels like the movie kind of transports you into the pizzeria when you're in the pizzeria. Like, I don't know if that's over exaggerating at all, but it's fun. So I mean, I'd say that's about all the kind of like actors, the characters in the movie. There are kills in the movie, and there are jump scares. Jump scares are great. Even if you, like I said, you've been a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's for the longest time, you have all the jump scares memorized from the games. This movie will still get you. This movie will still get you. It got me a bunch, made me jump a bunch of times. I found myself sitting in my seat, jumping and swearing every time I got jumped. It was kind of cool how there was there's something in the movie that happens pretty often that jump scared me more than like normal jump scares. And I caught myself swearing and just laughing every time it happened. It was funny. Speaking of funny, there are comedic moments in the movie. The movie also does take itself seriously as well. And I think it does a good balance. Personally, my opinion is that it keeps a good balance of the entire thing between comedy, keeping itself serious, and thrills. I'm saying it's more of a thriller instead of a horror. I do want to say that as well. Um, like there's some good comedic moments. There's nothing that's like too campy. Like I will say, before I went to see the movie today, I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's musical on YouTube with Markiplier and everyone for the first time, and that was campy. This was nowhere near that. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I loved that musical thing, and I loved this movie, but it wasn't as campy as that. There wasn't the memes where it's like you're sitting in the theater and they go, "What does FNAF mean?" Means friends never abandon friends. Nothing like that happened. Nothing. So you don't have to worry about that. I will spoil that. It's the only spoiler I'm gonna give you is nothing like that happened. Sorry if you're upset because I spoiled that. But it was good. Like I said, there's some small comedic moments. It's not as bad as say like if you watch Thor, Love and Thunder. It's nothing like that. The movie does take itself seriously. It has comedic moments, and it finds a good balance of both of those. There's good scenes in the movie that have some good chills, thrillers, some good horror. Again, it is PG-13, so they can't like go crazy with horror and everything, but I think it does a good job on balancing between comedy, thrills, horror, and a little bit of campiness, keeping itself serious. Does a great job at that. Scott Cawthon did a great job, and the whole crew did an amazing job with it. I will say, kind of speaking of on that line, where was I gonna go next with this? Um, 'Cause we're talking about keeping it serious and everything. All right, so PG-13. Even though this movie is PG-13, I do still wish there would be an R-rated cut at some point. It fits with the games. I'm gonna say that. After watching the movie and after revisiting FNAF 1 through 3 and just going back and remembering all the other games, uh, it felt like the games. I'm gonna say that. I mean, if you go back to FNAF 1, yeah, it's freaky, but there's nothing too, like, crazy dark in it. The only thing is, like, what they say is where children go missing and stuffed in suits and frontal lobes. But, like, you don't see any of that. Only things you see are just the still images, the jump scares, and that's it. And it's just the setting and the animatronics and Phone Guy just talking about it. They did an amazing job at just kind of matching the PG-13 and making it fit in with the games. Because again, the games are not like R-rated. They're not M for mature. The games, I would say, are about PG-13. And this movie does a great job at like feeling like one of the games. So, even though I do wish there would be an R-rated cut, they did a fantastic job at making it PG-13, and I think they did pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. Do stick around for the post credits because there is a post credit scene, and at the end credits, there's another thing that I'm still. It's tough to make out, but there is something at the end credits I'm gonna try and make out tomorrow when I watch it more. I already looked it up, and other people also have things that they think happened with it. So stick around for end credits, because if you are a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, there is something for you that you might enjoy. Also, it's just nice to stick around and watch all the credits play. You get to see the whole crew that worked on this movie. So again, I think it was great. Nothing stands out that I'm like, oh man, wish this movie kind of it was better. Um, there's not a lot of like the camera watching from the games. I know other reviewers are going like, oh man, too much plot, not enough like of the kind of game stuff, which is okay. There's enough of it, I will say that, but it, it's not like crazy, right? They did again. They did fantastic on balancing like the story, the animatronics, the characters, the relationships all the characters have with each other. Even like Mike Schmidt's home was pretty cool seeing all that. The way they portrayed Mike being like down at his lowest, but also caring for his sister. Um, Mike Schmidt was obviously the main character in this movie. I will say that. But he does a great job, and it's does good at it. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? Again, all the jump scares were awesome, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I can really say without getting into spoiler territory. Again, negatives. I do have a couple negatives I want to go through. This isn't just a movie that I'm just completely gushing about. Even though I did love it, there are some things I think it could have done better, and I could have made it just a little bit. It's like up here, I just want to make it go all the way up there. So it does, even though I did gush about the PG-13 rating, it does suffer a little bit from it. It does suffer a little bit from it. There's some creative kills in this movie. There's one kill in particular that it made my jaw drop. I will say that because it was really cool and I was not expecting it at all. Which was also kind of cool because it's a PG-13 rating. There's some that's really cool that happens. You're like, wow, that's awesome. The finale that happens in this movie is really cool. I will say that. I do wish that it was paced a little bit better. While watching, I didn't think at any point where I was like, oh, this is kind of going too quick or something like that. But I mean, to be fair, the first FNAF game was also a quick game. It wasn't anything too spectacular. Um, but it did feel a little fast paced. So I think it did suffer a tiny bit from that. But it wasn't like obviously fast paced. I do think the climax and finale did feel a little bit uh too fast. I do wish they would have done a little bit more, focused a little bit more on it. So I do think the movie could have excelled from being on the longer end. With the runtime it has, it did great. I just do think if it was a bit longer, it it would have uh made it better. It would have been better. I will just say that. So yeah, but it feels slightly fast paced in some points, but at the same time, it told the story it needed to tell, and it did a good job at telling that story. It leaves questions open. Not a lot, I will say that. It doesn't leave a lot of questions unanswered. But it leaves enough to where you're like, oh, I want more. I want to see more of this film universe. But it does answer a lot of questions that it makes in the movie. I can't think if there's any like really plot holes that happen in the movie. Can't really think of that too much. I will say some other negatives are I wish that Matthew Lillard and them would have been on screen a little bit more. Can't get into too much spoilers, but I wish they would have had him on more so that they could have let him be him more. They could have let him be his own creative person a little bit more than what he was. Because he was great on screen when he was on screen. I just wish would have had a little bit more screen time. I do wish the animatronics had a little more screen time than they had. That's another thing. Which, like, if it was a longer runtime, could have had a lot more of that. Hold up, my food might be done. So give me one more second. I'll be right back. That was it. Again, I do think the runtime could have benefited the movie. The movie could have benefited from it quite a bit. Um, just because could have had a lot of the actors been on screen more. Could have given them more time to linger on and focus on stuff. Because stuff happened in the movie and it kind of just goes on to the next scene, which is okay. It was okay when that happened because it closes, answers a lot of questions that were open, does a good job at it. Let me think. Let me think. And there's not that many negatives I have. I do think some of the kills could have been better with a slightly better, bigger rating. They were creative kills. I wish there were more kills, but at the same time, when we get into that, it's like FNAF 1, you're only playing as one character. He's the only one that dies on screen. So, in the game, which is so it's like there wasn't that many people that die in the first game. So, I don't know. I guess it's not bad. I do think the sequels will probably be better. Like this movie was great for the first movie starting it off. I do think any sequels that we may get will be better because they're going to learn from it. They're going to add to the universe, listen to feedback that fans may have. It's going to go good. Um, like I said, again, I don't have that many negatives with it. It was a fun movie. If you don't know Five Nights at Freddy's, you're going to go into it and you're just going to be like, what? I'm just gonna be like, oh, those animatronics are cool, I guess. You're gonna be like, oh, jump scares were cool. But like, if you don't know Five Nights at Freddy's, I personally, I would still recommend it because it is a beginning. It doesn't just throw you in and you're like, what the hell? It explains stuff pretty well, in my opinion. It doesn't use any like complex, crazy lore that only a video game and fans, long-running fans, will understand. So I would still recommend it, even if you're not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, because it's a good, thrilling movie. It's a good Halloween movie. It's a blast, and it's just fun, you know. It's not horrible. It's good, and I'm excited to see more from it. I'm just trying to think if there's really any other negatives that I may have. Again, I wish it was a little slower paced at times, only at times. Wish there was a little longer so we could have spent more time with the animatronics and other characters. Because at times, as I said, did feel a little fast paced. I mentioned there was no point in the movie where I was like, wait, what? Or like where a plot hole kind of happened. I was like, wait, that doesn't really make sense. Um, like it was good. It was good. It was a good time. There was some big bombs that drop that were pretty cool. I wish I would have lingered a little bit more on. I do wish the post. I will say the post-credit scene, nothing too crazy. I wish they did a little bit better of a tease for the post-credit scene, but I guess maybe they didn't want to tease it too much, just in case. I mean, it's an indie game turned movie, and it's releasing streaming that same day. They probably didn't want to do that just in case it, like, there wasn't gonna be a sequel, right? Um, but yeah. It was good. It was a blast. It was a good time. I don't want to say anything like that because I was getting into spoiler territory. Um, I do wish, I will say there is blood in the movie. I wish there's a little more blood. Like again, that suffers from PG-13 rating a little bit, but it's nothing too bad. Um, like it fits in with the games. Uh, but I think that's all I have really left to say. I had a blast with the movie. I want to talk way more about spoilery stuff, but I won't do that today because it's the first day the movie came out. The official release date isn't even until tomorrow, so many people haven't even seen it yet. So I'm obviously not going to mention any spoilers, but eventually we'll be able to get to that point. Because there's a lot I still want to talk about that I can't do in a spoiler-free review. I will say out of 10, a scale out of 10 for me, this movie was a solid 9 out of 10 for Five Nights at Freddy's fans. It does leave you wanting more. Like, it's not a perfect movie. It leaves you wanting more, but also, it was just satisfying being able to see all this happen on a big screen. It might go up because tomorrow I'm seeing it like in IMAX a bit, Dolby Atmos, which is gonna be cool. But yeah, solid 9 out of 10. If you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, if you're not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I'm gonna get, I gotta give it at least a 5. I'm sorry, but it's true. If you're not a Five Nights at Freddy's, this movie was made for FNAF fans. If you're not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, there is stuff you will still enjoy, but at the same time, you're just gonna kind of be sitting there along for the ride, and you're just gonna be kind of like, oh, the animatronics are cool. So I'm gonna give it a solid 5 out of 10 if you're not a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. So give it a chance. Give it a chance if you're not. If you are, go watch it. It's a blast, and it's just fun too. It's a fun movie. And as a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, 9 out of 10. You know, I'm not a FNAF fan. I think I said that right. I do think a solid 5 is good. Middle of the ground, middle of the pack. Nothing too crazy happens in it, but there's still some things you'll enjoy. You'll enjoy the animatronics. They're awesome. You'll enjoy the actors, the characters, the story. You might even enjoy the story. Might even enjoy the story. Because again, there's some twists that you won't see coming. Go see it in theaters. Highly recommend that. If you can't see in theaters, definitely watch it on Peacock. I think is probably already out on Peacock. I think. Go watch it on Peacock. Give it a streaming views. Um, Add it to your collection once it comes out on DVD. It's a good time, even if you just want to see it once. So again, that's gonna be my spoiler-free review of Five Nights at Freddy's. Thank you for watching, listening, and I had a lot of fun with it. I'm seeing it again tomorrow, so my thoughts might change. I might have other thoughts to come out on it. But no, it was fun. Thank you, thank you. R R R R.